Exactly.
Next level now. So the next level is the and that's the one that you do zip code for people that are in other states and stuff like that. They told me something about hitting them button, you can dial 877 or something, and then punch in the zip code, you can find out the zip. Okay, that's when you do it.
Calling the order, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask everybody just remain standing for a minute for a moment of silence of thoughts for those who served in the military and recognition of Memorial Day and those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. And today is May 28th. Roll call, please.
Cleary?
Here.
Aaron? Here. Meyer?
Here.
Burrows? Coleman?
Here.
Whalen?
Here.
We have the minutes of May 12th. Any corrections, additions, deletions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion made and second. Any questions? Roll call.
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron? Yes. Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Clerk's report.
Everyone has a copy of the clerk's report. Total tax income received since the last meeting, $177,884.55. And you'll see that the real estate tax money is starting to come in now. Attached to the clerk's report is a request from the Relay for Life. They want to hold their dollar days in Beecher on Saturday, June 28th, outside of local businesses who give them permission to collect on their property. This leads into their American Cancer Society's Relay for Life event being held on June 25th and 26th at the Peatone Junior High School. Are there any objections or questions about the request? And also, I just wanted to report, last week I attended the International Institute of Municipal Clerks Conference in Milwaukee. Over 675 clerks from 7 different countries attended the conference. It was great to be able to attend the classes and meet so many different kind of people that do the same kind of work that I do. And I appreciate that the opportunity the village gives me to attend these type of events. Just a quick couple of things that I thought were points of interest. I met a clerk from Rotterdam in the Netherlands. His name is Jaap Hans, and we had discussed how similar his duties are to clerks in the United States. And he had also commented in our conversation that we're more strict in our laws here in the United States compared to the Netherlands, that they have more leeway in how they administer their laws, and if the law doesn't make sense in certain situations, then they can change it a little bit more than the way we do it in the United States. A lot of the sessions, too, were very focused on technology and ways of keeping citizens informed. And I feel like after being around a lot of these groups that Beecher's a little bit ahead of other municipalities of our size when it comes to moving forward on having a smartphone app, which we're introducing tonight, and the use of Nixle. Many towns have Facebook and Twitter accounts, and there were a lot of discussions on how they handle negative, erroneous, and inappropriate posts. And it seems like those that have the best experiences with those types of social media seem to be the larger towns with staff that's dedicated to monitoring and posting these sites regularly. So it was just pretty interesting.
Any questions, Clerk? Anyone else from the audience that wish to address the board? If not, Finance Administration?
Looking at the 5-year lease concerning Surfwire Air Wireless. Used to be Airbot. Airbot was bought out by this group. It's a larger company. They're trying to increase their capability in the Beecher area, and they're moving themselves from a 3 meg to a 20 meg server. In the process of doing that, they want to extend their lease for another 5 more years. which would be cost, we would be increasing, the income would be the same, $225 a month. We would receive the now 5 free access points, which include the new village hall, the police department, the public works building, and the sewage treatment facility that we have right now. So that's the locations that we would be getting. It would also increase our transfer rate up to 20 megabytes instead of the 3 that we have right now, which would assist the staff in their functions. So just to make everybody aware of it, so right now the lease, we need to extend that lease, so I'm making a motion for a 5-year lease agreement with Surf Air Wireless for the use of the water tower, which is right now going on, for wireless internet access with an income to the village of $225 a month, plus 5 free access points at 20 megs apiece.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Cooley?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Cleary?
Yes. That is my report.
And public buildings and properties, parks and recreation. Trustee Lynn.
Okay, Weltenstadt Park, buddy, you got anything on that, or, they've been out there playing, so it's gotta be.
Well,
in
it's,
this week.
it's been cut,
Okay.
so they can find the ball.
Yeah, they've been playing out there.
There's somebody playing tonight.
You didn't hit any softballs when you were mowing, did you?
No,
Okay,
not that I'm aware of.
all right. I noticed that we have, do we have extra line, crushed line for those
Yes.
fields?
Yeah, we just have to be able to get out there.
Okay. I know with the rain, it's probably a little bit dicey. What about the Lions Park path?
Same, it's staged over there, we get opportunity, we'll spread it, and that's on, should be done within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, because I know there's, what, about 5, 6 loads?
Yep, and what's ever left there is going over to Weltenstadt Park.
Okay. What about the scoreboards? We got the scoreboards up?
They're up, we're meeting with ComEd tomorrow, I believe, to go over the drops, and it's just a matter of probably about half a day's work for me, and they're ready to roll. Right now, they're, I have it wired up so they can use the generators. I gave them 2 small generators, so they've been using them.
Okay, good,
So,
perfect.
other than that,
You guys have seen the scoreboards, I'm assuming, in the park?
Yeah.
They look good, but you did a good job. I don't think they'll ever come down.
nope, not in my lifetime.
They're built like a fortress. What we need to do is consider a motion approving payment of $501.77 to L&H for diagnostic and repair of the RT unit on 625 Dixie Highway account. This was for determination if we keep the units presently on the roof, and we also installed a new thermostat. So it sounded like when they were up there checking them out, the units are in fine condition.
That's correct.
You know, so we're able to save,
Does the air work too, Bud? Did they test the air?
When I was up there, everything seemed to be working fine. They're gonna come back, probably when the weather gets a little more warmer. The way that air conditioning unit works, it actually has an override on it, so that if it's a certain temperature, it'll use the outside air for cooling instead of kicking into the compressors. So, but we did have the compressors running, there were no leaks or anything. I have no reason to believe there would be any problem.
okay. So that saves us a lot of money
Gotcha.
replacing those units, for sure. Our next item, consider a bid award.
You gotta vote
Oh, we
on it.
need to vote, okay.
Make a motion.
I'd make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Any questions or motion? Roll call.
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
No.
Whalen?
Yes.
For the record, I'll vote yes.
Okay, now we can move to the next one. Consider a bid award. Last week, we opened bids on 625 Dixie Highway. 15 bids came in, which is a lot better than the one we had the first time we put it out. So in the 15 bids, we ranged, the lowest bid was $129.5, and it went all the way up to $288, I think was our top bid. What we're gonna do is I recommend tabling this till next meeting. We have some due diligence we need to do with the lowest bidder. There's gonna be a meeting set up for next week, so we can discuss further. So at the next meeting, we will bring this up again. Okay? That ends my report.
Planning, building, and zoning, trustee Aaron.
Building department monthly report was closed for your review. Village applied for a grant to complete land use plan. IDOT is offering planning grants to communities along the Ileana corridor, and the village has applied for a complete rewrite of our land use plan to include the Ileana. This project will be completed by TESCA and is funded 10% by the village, 10% by the state, and 80% by the federal government. Although we do not have an exact figure yet, it appears that the village share will be around $4,000 and the total project around $40,000. This is a reimbursable grant, so we will have to pay the consultant first and then get reimbursed by the state. We expect this project to begin in August or September. The old downtown building, we met with one of the building owners in the downtown area to discuss their condition and their further plans with their building, and we are planning on meeting with one of the other property owners. And that ends my report.
Public safety, trustee Coleman.
Excuse me. Police Department monthly report is enclosed for your review. Also, code enforcement monthly report is enclosed. School safety and security update, Chief?
We've got a meeting scheduled with the school district to go over the annual security meeting that we have. That's with the village administration, police department, the school administration, also the fire department. And this is done annually. It'll be within the next couple weeks.
We haven't set a date.
Yes, there is a date for that. I believe that's June 4th.
June 4th?
Yeah, I think it is the 4th.
Mhm.
10 a.m. Okay. Next, I'll engage update, Chief.
We did some training through a phone conference call, also the internet. My laptop was experiencing some technical difficulties, so we didn't get through the entire training session. But we had enough now that we can individually go on and start opening up different things on Nixle. What we're doing first is we're going to assign the administrators that can go into the account. We're going to have to load up some databases to set up different groups and administration. And I'll have more for you by next meeting. But it's going forward. It's a workable system. It's just unbelievable everything that it has to offer as far as notification and rebroadcasts. We can choose what rebroadcast we want from the National Weather Service, whether it's a warning, advisory, and how, whether we want them at certain times. So it's a nice system.
Okay, thank you. Status of workers' compensation cases. We currently have one full-time and one part-time officer on leave due to on-the-job injury, and this has required a shuffling of some manpower in the police department. Both officers are expected to return in the coming months. Anything on that, Chief?
Nothing that I can really report. It looks like it may be on one officer 6 to 8 months from now, and the other one is undecided because we really don't know whether surgery is going to be required or not. For HIPAA regulations and that, I don't want to divulge too much information at this time. I mean, both officers were injured on duty. One was affecting our rest. The other was during the winter storm with the vehicle that was stuck in the snow.
We're doing okay with rescheduling?
Well, we're a little bit behind, but we're playing catch up. Everybody is picking up the slack here, and we've canceled some training events, so we'll reschedule them for later on this fall. But we're getting the shifts covered.
Okay, thank you. Mosquito abatement update, Buddy?
Well, Thursday night will be the first spraying, so we'll see how that goes. And Friday, we will be larviciding all the catch basins. I'm hoping that'll, it's gonna take the whole department one day. Maybe a little lag over on Monday, but that'll all be online by Tuesday of next week. You can plan on Thursday night from dusk, probably around 8 o'clock till midnight. That's when we'll be spraying.
What about larvicide?
Like I said, that'll be done Friday.
Okay. Any questions of the chief or myself?
Chief, I just want to say the code enforcement reports are 10 times better than they were before, so.
Next one's gonna be a long one, probably
Yeah,
15
they're doing a-
pages.
They're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, it's kind of, we're a little bit slow right now in the code enforcement with the scheduling in that. We're lagging a little bit behind, but we're putting extra effort into it now, so you're really gonna see it start to pick up. And we do have a meeting scheduled with code and office staff on Friday at 11 a.m.
We need to check our notes back and forth. Let's talk weeds for a minute. Weeds is a big problem, and what we're finding out, we go out and do weed enforcement, that a lot of these lots change hands over the winter. So you go after the guy and he says, I don't own a lot, well, who bought the lot? I don't know, I just gave it up, you know, that's one case. Hunters Chase East, we just found out today that 50 lots sold to somebody else in Hunters Chase East. Of course, we're chasing the old owner of that property, not the new owner, and it's gonna take us some time to shuffle out who owns what before we get compliance on weeds. A lot of people say, well, why don't you just fine the guy for weeds? Well, the problem is, once we issue a fine for a weed complaint, the person decides whether or not to pay the fine or goes to court. Most of them decide to go to court because it delays the process even further. Unfortunately, the weeds aren't mowed. What we're trying to do is get compliance. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes.
Fining somebody for having high weeds does not achieve compliance. So we use the threat of a fine to try to get the compliance. Now, if we don't get compliance, we will cut the weeds with a contractor, and then we lien the property. Okay, that is our code. The police department decides whether or not a fine is issued in addition to the lien. We will go in and abate the nuisance and issue the lien on the property. We have about a $14,000 cushion in our escrow account for mowing, because there's a lag between when you do the mowing, when you pay the bill, and when you get the money off the liens, or when the property changes hands. So we have a good $14,000 cushion, which I think will last at least one full mowing season. But there's a lot of things going on. When you take MGM out here, it could be 150 acres that has to be mowed, you know? And right now, there's probably 8 or 9 different owners in this subdivision. And every year it changes. But I just wanted to let you know we're trying to do the best we can on these.
What are you doing about the foreclosed homes?
They're actually easier, because a foreclosed home has a tax bill. And if a home is foreclosed on, the bank's name will show up on that tax bill. It's these vacant lots that don't have addresses that we have a very hard time tracking. So if there's a home on the property that has an assigned address, it's a lot easier for us to trace who owns it. Plus, we shut the water off, and the water doesn't get turned on until all the bills are paid. So on a home, I would rather deal with a home that has weeds than a vacant lot that has weeds. It's so much easier to get compliance.
And just on a foreclosed home, sometimes it takes a little longer because you have the bank that hires a property management. The property management hires someone to cut the grass. So I call the property management, they say it was supposed to be cut Friday, so they gotta get hold of their landscaper, whoever has a contract. And they don't have a choice of who, the one I talked to today says, no, we gotta go with who the bank says these are contractors you can go with. So there was one today on Indiana Avenue that I talked to them, and they gave them 5 days.
Is that the one by the creek over there?
Yes.
Chief, when's your bike rodeo?
The bike rodeo is Saturday, June 7th. And everybody is welcome.
Ages?
Pardon?
Ages?
Up to 13.
You're 3 to, like 3?
Anybody as young as you want. If you can ride a bicycle, we've had some. We had 2 and 3-year-olds on tricycles, but the
Tricycles too?
yes.
Anything else?
No.
Public Works Committee, trustee Clerk or trustee Caporto?
Water Department monthly report, and Sewer Department monthly report is closed for our review. Water bill register for the month of March and April is also closed for our review. We discussed the issue last week or so concerning the water loss in our system. We've gone from a high of 80% loss, which puts us into an acceptable zone, down to, I believe it's into a, is it 64, Bob?
The last one, we're down 56%, last building.
So we're noticing a trend in what's going on with our water system. We still think, at least John and I are believing that there must be either we're still losing water off of a water main. We are trying to get a handle on where we have unmetered water and start either metering that or getting an account for the volume that is going out so that we can tighten up what is really going on and we can pinpoint what we believe is the problem. We have kind of weekly tested the entire city, and we're pretty much, we should be tight, but right now we have a leak out somewhere, so, and it's a substantial amount of water, so it is causing us some concern. We're not done with resolving that, so.
I think Bud has found 2 service leaks.
I found 4 of them that were major leaks. We right over here with their townhomes, they had literally had the valve off and meter gone, and God only knows how long they were doing, filling up, but it was like having an indoor swimming pool, and you had to shut it off in the street, and the only way we found that out was it was bank taking over, and they had L&H go over there, and they said, you got a water problem. They were trying to pump out the basement, and it just kept, when it got so far, what they could see was just filling up and filling up. That was one of them, or actually 2 of them. And then we found we had 2 more leaks up at Nantucket Cove in that area that's questionable, and we're discussing that in committee, but we've already dug the one up, and I shut a section off up there. So that's something we'll be, I'm sure the committee will be addressing with you at a later date. So, very substantial water loss there.
So we're still trying to get our hands around it, and like I said, it's excessive, it's more than we really find is acceptable, so we're still working to try to get that buttoned up. The variable speed drives?
They're on order. I'm just waiting for them to come in.
So when those come in and we get those installed, we expect that to ease some of the issues with water hammer in the system, which we expect to minimize the amount of water main breaks. It won't eliminate it, but it will eliminate or minimize the amount of damage that comes from a surge in the water system. Thermoplastic look like we have all that done by now.
I believe they're coming in Monday to finish up some loose ends, but other than that, it's for the most part done.
We went a little over budget on that project because in my estimates, I forgot, we took the islands out on Linden and Chestnut, and we had to restripe all of Church Road, the approaches to get cars, not IDOTs. So we're gonna.
Those?
Yeah, those are ours. So we repainted them, we should be good for 5 years. We did all the crosswalks across Route 1.
Right.
So we got everything done, and it's gonna come in at about $29,000.
As part of all these water main breaks and issues that we have through the winter, we've got a lot of damage to the asphalt where we cut it and the sod where we've gone into the sides of the road. So as part of the water main installation, it's the issues that we've always talked about. Buddy, any more detail you want to add into that?
Other than the fact that I got in touch with 2 contractors. I just today got right before the meeting here, I met with All Pro Paving. We have we decided to go. I think there's 5,000. Where are we at here? 345 square feet of damaged asphalt that needs to be replaced. What I said to Bob was the total cost on that was $25,825, and I think we need to go through that along with the All Pro Paving bid that we have. So I recommended to Bob that we do a not to exceed that $825 amount. I mean, since it's the highest one there, and then we can work our way back. Just from what I was looking at it, the numbers are really close.
But I have a question, Glenn. You had a water main break Memorial Day.
That one's not in there.
That's what I'm saying. Should we add that in there based on the unit pricing that we approved? Or do you want to fix that one?
I'll fix that one.
Okay.
Let's just, it's very important that we get these monkeys off our back. I mean, there's like 33 holes out there, so should we just go into the landscaping part too? As
Well,
long as
that's
we're
the,
talking
that's
about
the
that?
next one we got on the list, so.
Okay,
Follow into that.
Why don't we do one at a time? Let's just do asphalt first.
okay, yeah.
Well, really,
And it's over $5,000, which requires a motion of the board. So what we're asking for is a motion not to exceed 25,825 to proceed with the asphalt restorations. You have one bid in front of you. We just received tonight the other bid, which is very comparable to this bid. So we're going to have to look very closely at the differences between the two bids before we award it. So the one you have attached in your proposal there is the number of spots we have, there's 14. However, Pasadena Prairie and the Elm Street one, there's several of them. They're just lumped into one price
right.
because those two numbers come out of the water main replacement fund. Because that was actually replacement of main, not repair.
Correct.
That's how we have this broken down. But in fairness to the residents, we gotta get these areas fixed.
Well, you know, we've done all this work, and a lot of it started back in December, and it worked all the way to February, March. We're doing a lot of this. In fact,
Oh, yeah.
it took us on Prairie almost to the end of April to get it done, because once we kind of resolved the issue on a minor basis, we didn't rectify the problem. We still had to work around it, and that then put us in the back of the line. So once they had to get through all of the emergent issues, then it came back to us. That's why it took to April. So I'll make a motion approving not to exceed price for the asphalt replacement for water main breaks and water replacement projects in the total of $25,825.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second, and the order of those two bids will be after the fact, correct? Just to clarify.
I think you have to do is authorize the village president to sign the selected proposal.
Not to exceed,
Not to exceed 25.
not to exceed value.
That's fair. Make good, but that works.
Works for me.
Any other questions? If there was a motion, there was a second. Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Cleary?
Yes. Okay, let's talk about sign.
Okay, Sod, you should have another memorandum in front of you where I've gone out to the water main restorations and a couple of patches that we had throughout the year. In order for us to even get close to getting these done, we talked in committee, so we got Jonathan's approval, and I believe Brian supports it also, and I also talked to a couple other trustees. So I went out, 3 different landscapers, and in front of you are the prices. Elm Street, it looks like Tadpoles was the closest for doing that restoration at $3,495. On Prairie Avenue, Desiderio was the next lowest with, on that street at $6,780. And then Catalpa went to Priority, which I believe is a new landscaper right out of Beecher, both Tadpoles and Priority are Beecher businesses. And then also the Woodward one kind of slipped in, you know, got thrown in there also, and Priority got that one. I don't have a full dollar amount as to what they would be, but really, as you look at this, they've all been divided pretty much evenly between them, so we'll see for future references which ones we do prefer.
Bob, in your last page of this memo, $12,194.05. That's based on the split amongst the lowest bidders.
That's correct.
And you're going to administer those, you're going to administrate those based on the low bid.
Yep. And you, 10,275 will come out of water main replacement account, because that's Ellen Prairie. 1920 will come out of OM, the water main pressure.
Okay. Make a motion authorizing the village president to, or not to exceed value of $12,195 for the replacement of sod.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Is that 10,195?
No, $12,195.
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
One of the other areas of concern for us is the Miller Street lift station, Forest Main update. Bud, anything on the teleline?
I have to go to
So many things
probably,
going on.
yeah, there's, it hasn't really reached a priority type. Vision Sewer, for some reason, I don't know if it's not that big of a project for them, so we'll probably have to go with national power rotting to get it, you know, at least to get it televised and cleaned. But I can let you know, I have not seen anything that causes me to believe that there's gonna be any emergency situation arising right now, so.
Okay. Were you able to get the water meters, main water meter
I'm waiting for
application?
quite a few reports coming back from Simpson, yes.
Let me know when that comes in.
Will do.
That's it.
I have one item. We have on the list over 30 snowplow damage restorations we didn't do on parkways yet. Jeff loaned us his secretary for a day and called all of those people last week. Told them we didn't forget about them, they're still on the list. But now if we get these big jobs off Public Works' radar, maybe we can focus on the smaller sod restoration that we still have to do. It's been a bad winter, bad spring. Can't catch up.
Economic Development, Community Relations, Trustee Meyer.
I'm going to skip to number 2 on my committee, the smartphone app launch, since we have a representative from the constituent outreach consultants here, and that way she doesn't have to sit through too much more in the meeting. After we started discussing adopting a smartphone app back in October, I think, when we shown at the IML conference, and after a lot of talking and decision-making, I think we decided in March we were going to go ahead with it, and the rest of the time has been spent building the app. I made up a little promotional thing. It's available for the public to download, and we're going to send this along to all the businesses, and it's got pictures of exactly what the smartphone looks, what the app looks like. There's going to be QR codes where people can scan it and download it to their phone. We don't have a lot of tech available in the room, so I'm going to go old school with paper and just give you an idea of the screenshot of what it looks like. Some of the things, I'm going to hold it back so I can see it, so I'm not like the weatherman with a blue screen here pointing at nothing. There's going to be, there is a calendar section where you can link to school district, township, library district, and village calendars. If you select an event in the calendar, you can download it directly to your phone, set up alarms so that you can attend the event. In the center section, there's an about portion of the app where there's directions and just all kinds of information about how to make the app work. Take a look. There's a directory for, see my own finger here. There's a directory for local governmental bodies, community organizations. Each section has links to their website, to their telephone numbers. Any phone number in this app, if you touch it in the app, it'll direct dial it right from your phone. There's a business directory that lists hopefully just about all the businesses within our school district area. It has links to their websites, promotional material that they provided for us, links to their Facebook pages, maps to their address and their phone number. There's a service request section where the residents can report high weeds, snow that wasn't removed, trash that wasn't picked up. It requires your contact information, but if you plug in your contact info, you can actually use your camera, your smartphone camera to take a picture of it, and you can upload it directly to the village. If it's an emergency situation, you're not going to want to use the smartphone app on like a Saturday night, for instance, because there's nobody monitoring it. But just for day-to-day things, if you don't have time to call the village, it's just another way that you can get the information to the village. There's events and offers and a news section. We're going to have the capacity to be able to push notifications to your phone with important events that are coming up. These things will also be stored in the news section. We've got information in there already about the beef roast coming up, garage sale days. We'll have information posted about 4th of July Fest coming up as soon as that's available. There's a link to our website and a link to the elected officials. And it's got our terms of office and information about what committees we chair. So that's basically how the home screen is going to look. The important thing is to try to get people to download it, and actually I have a press release. Did we give Karen a copy of the press release? I can give it to her at the end of the meeting.
I'll give it to her, yep.
Okay. We have a press release for the local newspapers. We're gonna send out emails to all the businesses so that they can put up posters in their business. I know there's other ways that Emily had ideas about ways we can kind of promote the app. And if you had any more suggestions for us, things we could do.
Yeah, you know, when you think about app promotion, you really want to think about it in two phases. Right now, we're in the initial launch phase. And that's going to be where hopefully you get, you know, the most amount of downloads. The thing you have to keep in mind with, you know, smartphone apps is out of sight, out of mind. If you're not promoting it, if you're not getting the word out there, people won't download it and it won't be an effective tool. So in the phase we're in right now, the initial download phase, contact all the businesses that are part of it. Contact the school district and see if you can put up a flyer. Put up flyers, obviously in the village hall. So, you know, you just want to get the app out in front of as many people as possible initially. And use the initial launch as a little bit of a buzz. Oh, this is exciting. Then you kind of transition into phase 2, which is ongoing promotion. And there's a lot of different options there in terms of things you can do for free, things you can do that might cost a little bit but get a really good response. A lot of our communities do things like they include, you know, links to download in the water bill. Obviously, you want to add it to your website, things like that. You know, anytime the village is communicating outwardly, be it in a newsletter or anything of that sort, add the smartphone, put it in the sidebar, put it at the bottom, make sure that that is a consistent part of all of your communication. Other options in terms of promotion going forward, you can do things like Facebook advertising. That doesn't require you to have a Facebook page for your municipality, but it does allow you for a very small cost to target people in Beecher and have those ads popping up while they're on their computer where they can click the link to download and it will automatically download to their phone. Other things you can do, you know, Pandora radio advertising has similar options where you can really target the people that you're, you know, obviously looking to get to download. You can do an auto dial call from the mayor where the mayor, you know, dials out to every phone in the village, says, hey, we have this awesome new thing, it's a smartphone app, it does this, this, and this. For more information, go to, you know, the village website. You can do video messages, you can do a wide variety of things, and I sent a packet over to Marcy which she can spread around with some options and some more information. But definitely the key is don't let it get out of mind. Make sure that you're constantly promoting, constantly adding it to your materials. Does anybody have any questions from a technical standpoint or anything like that? One thing that I didn't mention in terms of promotion is, you know, as part of our ongoing service agreement, you guys have the opportunity to switch out buttons, switch out modules, switch out functionality. So obviously a year from now, the About the App button won't be something that's really relevant anymore. Swap that button out. Send out more press releases. It gives you a second opportunity to create hype and buzz and get more people excited and more people downloading. You have a question?
I'm just curious, is it an app that applies to all platforms?
It runs on Apple and Android phones and then tablets as well. A key thing to remember when you're downloading on your tablet is you do have to download it as a smartphone app. You have to search for iPhone apps, obviously, on Apple tablets. If you just search for iPad only, you won't be able to find the app. So that's something to definitely spread around. We don't do, currently we don't do Windows phones just because there really hasn't been a need up until this point. There hasn't been a strong demand. But absolutely, you know, if Windows phones blow up in the next year, that's something we will start developing for.
What do you search for? How do you search for?
Village of Beecher.
Village of Beecher?
Yep,
No.
search for Village of Beecher.
Did you miss
iPhone,
that?
Village of Beecher.
Because-
iPhone, you search for Village of Beecher.
Yeah,
On the Android, just search for Beecher. When you search for
Yeah.
Village of Beecher, you get no application.
really?
Yes.
Oh, we can fix that.
So when I searched for Beecher, it came up. The scan for Android came up with the app. But when I told you, when I scanned for Beecher, the app came up. Village of Beecher, not a chance.
We can add that to the keywords, that shouldn't have been missed, but definitely. Another thing to think about is, as this launches, you know, obviously you'll get feedback on the app, give that to us. This is something that, you know, with technology, with smartphone technology, as things advance and move forward, when new operating systems come out, we'll have to adjust to those things. So this is something that you're constantly sort of developing as you go. So it's
There's no issue with the version of of Android that you're running?
There shouldn't be.
Okay. Because I know there are some apps that need it to be a certain version of
Right.
Android, otherwise it won't function because
Right.
they've updated.
Nope, that's not the way this app should work. We stay ahead of those new updates and new versions on our back end so that you folks don't have to worry about that.
Now, the question more for you guys, the calendars. There's a calendar for Beecher Bobcats and there's a calendar for the school district. Why is there a difference?
The school district, yeah, ask the school. The school district, they had a district calendar that had nothing on it. It was basically just a receptacle that all their other calendars emptied into. So they had an elementary school calendar, high school, a junior high, Bobcats, music program, district. I think they had 7 calendars altogether. And I said, we can't put 7 school district calendars on the app. So they agreed to feed some of them into the school district. Now they're gonna have board meetings and a few things on their actual district calendar. Bobcats, we figured we'd put on just for the sports program and then the school music program. And I think intergovernmental tomorrow when we meet, I'm gonna talk to everybody about the way they put things on their calendar. For one thing, when it says board meeting, that's one thing I wanna bring up tomorrow. Library board, I mean, people are just putting events on their own calendar. So of course, they're just gonna say board meeting. Well, when it links into our calendar and we open it up, it says board meeting, board meeting, board meeting.
I didn't know we met so well.
All the time.
Well, you have to look at the color
The
code to know
color
what you're
code,
looking
yeah,
at.
it's all these different
Well,
boards. So I'm gonna tell them, just put, if it's a library board meeting, just put library board meeting, school board meeting, so that it's easier when it links to the app. But that's the school, and we managed to cut it down to 3 calendars.
What I found was the school board, well, either the Beecher Bobcat or the school board, they had the graduation. And the graduation on the Bobcat board was correct. Graduation on the school board was from midnight, 12 in the morning till 12 at night.
Yeah, they had a full day event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's little bugs that have to be worked out with their calendar and the way they load it, because we just upload directly from their calendar.
So now how does that upload get to their group to be able to get it into the system?
The way the app works in general is we do as much as we can to make sure that there's no double entry on your end. The news feeds populate automatically, the calendar populates automatically. So what it does is it pulls the .ics feed off of their Google Calendar and imports that directly into the app. So as Marcy said, obviously you and we don't have control over what they're doing on their back end and what information they're kicking out. But again, that's something where, obviously as the app develops and progresses and moves forward, those are the types of small hanging fruit that you can clean up.
But now you guys automatically go to those and pull those from their Google web? So it's not the village getting involved with that. Now there's just direct ties to it.
Yeah, we've given those addresses to them when they were building the app, and they linked it into the app, so that just gets fed directly in.
Now who maintains business information?
Well, that's kind of between us. We have a database that we provided them, and then they upload it into the app.
Okay.
So as changes occur, we find glitches or little problems, or somebody opens or closes, we're allowed kind of a global change to the app 4 times a year. But if we've talked to her about if little picky things, a business opens, we don't want to wait till the next quarter to put it on there, or if somebody closes, as long as it's not, daily, issues
Right.
with the business directory. If it's, we'll probably do another big one in another maybe 2 months or something. Once this is out there and we start getting feedback from the businesses, I'm sure there's things that we've missed and, little issues and other businesses that are gonna wanna have some information in that didn't have an opportunity or didn't get it in before the deadline. So we'll kind of gather all that and then submit it and get it all updated next time.
Now the 4th of July Commission, it's covered under the village portion of the app?
Well, there will be information on our calendar that we'll upload to the calendar. We can send push notifications out for when it's gonna start, and right now in the news, in the events and offers, we have an uploaded PDF file for the street dance coming up. And
All the
the
June
beef
events.
roast. Yeah, as soon as we get the 4th of July one, we can upload that into that section.
But are we planning on putting that into the calendar, and under which calendar is it going to appear if you do that?
It would be
Because you
under
also
the
have,
village. Yeah, it'll be under the village calendar.
and what about Lions? Would that also fall under the village?
I think we had talked about trying to put as much community information as we can, rather than just, official village, to kind of look at it as a community calendar, but I don't know if we've made any final decisions on that yet. Now with this, the only way you can upload it is to kind of have it as a community effort,
Right.
so.
The way you think about the app, it really does the apps that are the most successful are the ones that look at things from a community standpoint. The Village of Buffalo Grove is one that you guys are doing something similar to, in that they incorporated 8 units of government into their app and really, really made it a comprehensive tool. And because of that, you know, they're obviously getting much more saturation of the community in terms of downloads, in terms of people coming on and using the app. And they've had incredible success in terms of getting people to download the app and actually use it. So,
Now, do we link to the other governmental bodies' websites in this? Because I know Buffalo
Yes.
Grove's did,
mhm.
Well, not
and that was pretty impressive.
to their, if you go into the directory section, it has each governmental body with their address, phone number, and website link in that section, so you can link directly to the website. The only ones in the calendar are, like it says, Township Library, School, and us. Fire District chose not to participate at this point. They may, you know, jump in the future.
Okay.
I think that's it.
One question, if I have the trial, do I have to upload a new one, or does it update with time?
It depends on the settings you have on your phone. If you have your phone set to automatically update apps, it should automatically do that for you. If you turn that function off, for, like I have that function turned off because it drains your battery. So I have to go in and manually update. In terms of going forward, you're talking about when we had to resubmit the app and the new.
That's what I'm wondering, do I, if I have the initial, should I
If
reload
you
it?
follow her email,
Yeah.
if you follow Marcy's email, yes, you need to
I
unload.
thought I read that somewhere.
Yeah, going forward, that won't happen again. Going forward, that stuff all just happens on the back end. That was specifically due to a glitch in the actual coding, we had to recreate the app.
Thank you for coming out, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
And for the
thanks.
record, mine uploaded by itself.
Yeah, so did mine. So did mine.
Automatically from the trial to the new one?
As a matter of fact, I looked it up because there had been a glitch with the trial where it didn't show the battery and the life of the
How would
day.
I know if
And
I
all of a
didn't?
sudden I opened it up and we were just talking about it, I says, we need the new one. I looked and went, oh, it's there.
Oh.
It just updated that morning.
I forgot that I had that function turned, the automatic updates turned off on my phone, and so I was sitting there with our programmers like, why is this still broken? And it's because I forgot to download it.
There is no version shown on this thing at all. If you want to know what version you're running, you'd almost have to go to your application, Bob, to find out what version you have on there.
You could just delete it and reload.
You know what?
Here,
Uninstall and reinstall.
here, we got the QR codes, you could just.
And Bob, you're using an Android? Beecher.
I can't do it right now.
Well, they're gonna fix that, so it
Android-
says
I have
Village
that.
of Beecher. She's gonna.
If he does it right now, please.
Okay.
The Android version actually wasn't resubmitted. People who
Oh, was
downloaded
it?
on Android do not have to re-download the app.
Okay.
Oh, then you're good, Bob.
Yeah, it
You're
was
just
just,
fine then, you don't have to redo it.
You have an Android, they have the Apple.
Okay.
You're on the better system. My opinion,
I
Android.
think not. Thank you very
you
much.
bet, thank you.
Thank you.
Bernard Welding Sewer Extension update to be provided by the
Yes, they
administrator.
did extensive surveying out there, so apparently they're still going through their alternatives analysis. And I've not heard back from them on their suggested changes to our recommended plan.
Okay,
So the ball's in their court, not in ours, but that's the update.
that's ongoing. Website overhaul update. The village has paid Webfoot Designs of Mantino for a complete overhaul of our website. The process has begun and changes will be noticeable in the coming months. It's going to be an ongoing process that will take a while, so it's not going to be an overnight change.
We're extremely happy with the price that we got overall.
What exactly are they doing in the overall?
I know we're gonna do some art changes, correct?
We're gonna redesign the colors, the
redesign.
buttons,
The layout.
everything.
Hopefully make things easier to find.
Because right now, all of the the codes are on the web.
They still
Oh,
will.
they'll still be there.
The codes is a link to
Oh,
Sterling
that's right,
Codifiers,
yes.
so that will not change, the look of that will not change at all. Our initial website's gonna change, we're gonna update some pages, we're gonna add some pages, and with the new site, it will make it much easier to update the website, whereas right now I have to do it through Dreamweaver and different coding, which I'm not familiar enough with, where I can do anything really fancy and add pictures. The new one, we have a back end thing where we can go in and we can make the changes to it very easily. We can add photos really easily, we can add pages really easily. that's similar to our Lions Club website, which I updated that one and set that one up initially.
So you can make hot links in there also, that make it easier for you to get, that's good.
Everything, and it'll be something that any of us will be able to update. Right now, I'm the only one who really understands how it works. This will be something that if you've got the logins and if there's a real basic knowledge to it, it's good. Patty, Donna should be able to put stuff on there, and so I don't have to take care of it. Like on Friday when I was out of town, Donna was struggling with trying to put the agenda on the website, and it'll make it much easier for everybody.
And the new one's gonna be mobile optimized, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Intergovernmental meeting to be held Thursday, May 29th at 7 PM at Washington Township Center. Teska will be making a presentation on the use of TIF districts in addition to our famous roundtable discussion.
Rumor dispelling.
Rumor dispel. Medical marijuana hydroponic farm update to be provided by the administrator. Is that hydroponic or hydroponic?
It's weed.
It's weed, okay.
That's weed.
The weed update.
Hydroponic means they have to grow it internally, they have to grow it inside the building, you can't grow it like a farm, it has to be in a greenhouse outside of public view. We did have a request to consider medical marijuana farm inside a building. And the problem we're having with this is he has to be 2,500 feet from any residential area. It's very difficult to find annexed territory within 2,500, outside of 2,500 feet of residential. So I don't really know where this is gonna go. There is no existing buildings that fit that criteria, so you'd have to build new if it was gonna do it. And right now, it doesn't appear that there is that, he cannot meet the criteria in Beecher. So we don't know what's gonna happen. He's been looking at other communities as well.
If this guy does, and he gets himself in an area where he can build this thing and annexes into the village, if growth occurs, he gets inside that 2,500 feet.
He's okay. It's when he builds it.
Okay.
So no one could say, you know, someone's putting a farm by my house. You choose to move there, then you have a duty to know that he's there. These things, by doing some research on them, you wouldn't know what's going on inside the buildings. You'd have no clue. You know, other than the security around them. They're heavily secured, heavily video monitored. But right now, I just want to bring the board to, it doesn't appear that we've hit a dead end right now.
And continued discussion on incentives for new home construction. We talked about this last time and tabled it, about an incentive program. We didn't want it to become a cost for steering. We've not had a chance to meet yet again. Committee's gonna meet about this, so we're gonna table it again. And we're gonna discuss it with the attorney to see his opinion on the matter. So we'll bring it up again when the committee's had a chance to meet. Commonwealth Edison Annual Report has been closed for your review, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Welcome bags. To date, we've delivered approximately 14. We just delivered 6 more in the month of May and June. After June, we'll be doing around the first of the month to see how many we have. But, for the month of May, there were 6, and prior to that, there were 8. Ilion Expressway. I don't really have anything additional, except there is a rumor about a possible landfill going in Kankakee County somewhere along the right of the Ilion Expressway. I did have a conversation with the Grant Park mayor, who really didn't tell us any more or any less but what's in the paper. They are on record opposing a landfill. To his knowledge, he has no factual information whether that is in fact going to be built or not. The question becomes is that if in fact a landfill were to be built, or do we want to go on record opposing such a landfill if it were to be built? My impression was yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll pursue that. I offered our assistance to the Grant Park mayor that if there's anything Beecher can do, that obviously one of the concerns that we would have, and also Grant Park has expressed their concern that no matter where the landfill goes, truck traffic will increase even if it's south of town. The landfill could be, you know, all the way closer to Grant Park than it is Beecher, but we're still going to have the truck traffic coming through town. So we'll keep our ears and eyes open for that, and discussing how we can go on record opposing that, possibly adopting a resolution at the next meeting. If that's the route we want to take. South Suburban Airport, really I haven't heard anything recently. Have you, Bob? It's been sort of quiet. Route 1, 394 corridor study. Bob, would you do that?
We're going to plan on taking a little field trip up to their open house meeting next week, Wednesday, June 4th. We're talking about leaving the village hall at 4:30, getting there about 5. I think maybe we'll leave the village hall at 5. Now, I can't remember what my email said. I wrote this before the email. But it's up to you guys when you want to meet. I've had a couple of PZC members stated that they would like to carpool. We would meet at the village hall, go up there, spend an hour looking at maps and such, and listen to their presentation.
For the later meeting or the earlier meeting?
I would like to go earlier, but I think for the benefit of those who work, we have to go.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is anybody indicated that they wanted to go? Because if nobody wants to go, we can go to the earlier meeting.
Those that have come back to me states could probably go to the early.
How about the board?
If I go, I won't be coming back to Beecher to go to it. I'm already going to Beecher when I get back, so I would be going straight to one way. But I wouldn't be able to make it 4:30. I'd be going to 6:30.
Would you come, Gail, from Beecher, or would you go right?
No, I'd probably go right from.
Okay.
And I'd probably meet you there as well.
The late one?
Yeah. Late one, Ron? But you wouldn't come from Beecher or something?
I'd do the early one.
Okay. Early. Early. Okay, then we'll set up for early, because I know who the other two are that contacted me by email.
And there's one more at Weissgerber.
Is that you?
Yeah.
All right, then I will,
It's
send
split,
another
so.
email out with the new times. Because we don't have anyone desiring to go late, we'll go early.
Is that it on that subject, Bob?
Please go though and provide your input.
We attended another lobby day. This one was for the South Suburban mayors and managers down in Springfield. This one we actually did have a meeting with the governor. Somehow I was able to sit at the table with about 8 other mayors and discuss different subjects with them. At that particular point in time, which is in the news recently, is he was talking about his budget, the LGDF, the Local Governmental Distributive Fund, the income tax, whether it was going to be staying at the 5% or the 3.5% or rolling back, and whether or not we would get our shares. And then some of the other mayors at the table basically brought up concerns which were specific to their own town. Did bring up the Iliad Expressway, if I remember right. He even mentioned the airport, which are some of his projects. He did mention about a large capital bill coming out down the road, but with the budget the way it's going right now, I'm holding my breath to see what happens with anything like that. And along with that, we were also pulled aside by State Rep LG Sims, who had indicated that they would like a letter from us of what capital project that we would like to take under the village with a possible expenditure of $250,000. At that particular point in time, the Public Works Committee, Bob and I met. We discussed several different projects, but since there was no funding mechanism for sidewalks and the amount of money could not complete other projects that we wanted to complete, we decided to have that to try and fix all the sidewalks in town, which in some areas are needed worse than others. Anybody, Brian, you were at the meeting, or Bob, anything else on that one?
No.
And the appointments that I have to do every May, I will table until next meeting. I'm not quite ready to do that. If there's nothing else, I'd ask for a motion to do a closed session tonight to discuss land acquisition and litigation.
I have one thing I want to bring up. Did anybody respond to the request to make a comment concerning the LGDF?
Yes.
I did. You needed to do it before 6 o'clock. The state's going to hear this, and the issue directly impacts us. I mean, we've been keeping ourselves fiscally sound, unlike the state. We've been watching how we've been spending our money. We've been very fiscally responsible. And the issue with that is, while it sounds like a minor issue, they can capture the income tax that's been delegated to the village based on the per capita that we have. And that's kind of across the state. They're changing how that's being implemented to offshoot some of their costs and bad decisions on their part that directly impact us as residents of the state of Illinois. but that could directly impact our balanced budget that we have right now. Because if they decide later on to modify that distribution, our state income, our income tax that we receive would go down. And on this last, just to give you an idea of what it is, the income tax that we received just this month was $24,275. To the state of Illinois, it's a blip. To us, it's a good chunk of our income. So that email that Bob sends was not just to get our attention. We really needed to act upon that. So I would caution everybody to read those emails when you get them and act as quickly as you can, because it does directly impact us as residents in this village and us as board members for balancing our budget. That's all I have.
What we're being told right now is they're going to adopt an 8-month budget based on the income tax up to January 1. They're going to deal with the budget and with this tax issue at the veto session. Of course, that'll be after November's election. And I have a feeling they will probably have to continue some of that temporary tax. It may not be the entire amount, but they're going to have to, continue on with some of that temporary tax, but they can't do it now because of the election year. I don't know how they can make an 8-month budget and just worry about a few months down the road. But I will tell you, if they decide to eliminate that tax, that temporary tax, they will take from someone else because they cannot stop their spending. And they will take our money.
And when we were in Springfield, we were led to believe that this was sort of already a done deal, that everything had already been decided and worked out. And lo and behold, nothing's been decided and worked out even amongst our own officials or groups or sides, whatever you want to
We were
call it.
told, don't oppose the continuation of the tax, because if you do, we will take your local income tax. That was a threat, and there were some mayors that couldn't support that because they thought they were threatened. Is that correct? Correct. I know there were a few mayors that were very upset with it.
That's correct.
What are you gonna do? This is state government.
So like I said, it's a roller coaster ride right now, once again, which we go through every year. And like Bob says, I don't think anything's going to happen until after November either, until after the election. And like you said, when we send out these blasts, like tonight for the appearance, I believe tonight was basically to make sure that we get our money within 60 days. To me, that implies that maybe they're going to give us the money, but then again, just because they say they're going to give us the money within 60 days doesn't mean they're going to give us anything at all.
We'll give you half of what you get.
So it's still, like Brian said, it's worth to watch and keep an eye on.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I have one on this. You received an email regarding the forest preserve. I read it. They're requesting a letter of support from the village board supporting their project for an OSAG grant to improve the access to Plum Valley Forest Preserve, Plum Creek, by the addition of a 90-acre park and some walking trails and what have you. And they've asked the village of Beecher for a letter of support signed by the mayor. Now, that's not on the agenda, but what is the consensus of the board on the mayor signing that letter? Take time to read it.
In years to come, isn't this supposed to connect with Goodman Road?
Yes. In fact, if you look at the diagram, there's a trail going south. That's going to hook up to Goodman Road.
But that grant is pending at this point in time.
Anybody have any objections or suggestions? My personal opinion is I wish it was being done within Beecher. That sort of pipe dream.
Well, they just did update the other forest preserve
Good.
last year. Yeah.
Anybody have any objections? If not, I'll go ahead and send the letter of support.
The last thing I have, Mr. President, is we were told this evening that the Great Lakes Naval Training Center band is putting on a concert at the high school Friday at 1:55 p.m. members in the village that wish to go.
Friday at 5 p.m.
No, Friday, 1:50.
1:50.
And we can get more information from the school board at tomorrow night on it.
Anything else? And once again, I'd ask the motion be made for an executive session, to discuss litigation and land acquisition, and afterwards there would be no decision making or no vote taken on any of the items discussed.
So moved. Second.
The motion made and seconded by everybody.
Whalen?
Yes.
Clinton?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Cleary?
Yes.
Can
Staff can say.
Nelson stay?